Welcome back to the Cooking with T show. My name's Tony and work for General Transportation. And on our show each week, we try to make dishes that you can make out on the road. Things that are simple, don't take up a lot of room, and something that you can do to kind of pass the time when you have to sit for longer than you want to. And so today we're having shakshuka. It's a Middle Eastern dish, or perhaps a Northern African dish. I don't think anybody really knows where it actually really comes from, but I know one thing: it is good. It's simple, and we're going to start. And we got to start with, first of all, preparing everything to go into the skillet. A larger skillet today, a little bit deeper than the one we've been using and stuff, because, well, let's be honest, folks. Sometimes a little dab don't do you. Sometimes you got to have some stuff, and we're gonna make some stuff today. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dice up an onion and a bell pepper. We're gonna start with cutting the ends off like so, and I split the top and take off the ring. That's how I do it. Now, a lot of people do things different, and let's be honest about it. It's the you show starring you. You do it the way you want. And that's one thing I've said in the past, and I'll say it again today, and probably every show that we create, is it's seasoned to taste. Because my teaspoon of salt may be too much for your palate, may be not enough. So you just do it the way that you want. My best rule of thumb is to know what that tastes like. So try the salt, try the different ingredients and stuff, and see how intense it is, and that way you can decide how much you want in your meal. So with that said, we're going to wipe that knife off like so. We're going to split this after we get that off there. We're going to split this down the middle, and we are going to use this whole onion. So we're going to kind of do it like so. This is the way I like to do it. Kind of score it. Score it. You don't want it real thick. You don't want it real thin. Like I say, just do it the way you want. But here's kind of the way I like to do it. Makes it a lot easier to dice. Oh, you don't take the end of your thumb off. Everything's good. So, with that said, just dice that up real good. I love the smell of onions. I don't know, there's some people that don't like them, and add a little more, a little less. It all kind of depends on what you want there. And this table and everything's been pre-washed and everything's clean. So if we get a little on the table, it's still good to go. We're gonna take this and we're gonna go about it this way, close as we can without getting into a finger. Okay, and I think, let me take that little bit of core off of it right there, and wipe my fingers off here, get this onion off here, before I wipe my eyes and start crying in front of you, and y'all be wanting to check my man card. Next thing we want to do, though, we want to add a little bit of cooking oil, and I use olive oil. I love olive oil. It's good for you. And you want to put in about 2 tablespoons, which is about like that. Like I say, we don't measure anything around here. We don't even measure time. We're going to go ahead and we're going to fire this up. We're going to put this on kind of a medium heat, about like that right there. A little bit of a medium heat. We're gonna, if I can get this all over there without making too big of a mess. You know what? Poor boy's got poor boy ways, and I'm gonna show you the way I'm gonna do it. Like that right there. I ain't messed up about that. Like I say, everything here has been washed and sanitized before we start. Matter of fact, after every show it gets cleaned, and then before every show it gets cleaned once more. So everything's safe. No botulism today. Alright, make sure all of our pieces are broke up. Kind of stir that around just a little bit. Then you start with your bell pepper. Put that right there. I'm just going to set that to the side for now because I'm going to need it. Best way I found to do it is quarter it off. This way you don't have to worry about getting all the seeds out. And we want that bottom piece too. We're just going to do that like that. We don't want to throw some good stuff away. Alright. Now with that said, you want to do your bell peppers about the same size as you done your onions. So you don't want them real small, but you don't want them too big. Like I say, it's to each their own, and it's kind of where we're at right here. We're going to slice it up about like that. You can hear them onions already saying, hey, put them peppers up in here. Got a little something for them. Yeah, there's no perfect science to it. Just that when you know, you know. Alright. We're going to do this same way we did that onion after we split this one up a little bit. Get that bit of center skin out of there. Alright. And I know in your truck you don't have a lot of room, so you may want to pre-prepare some of this stuff while you're at the house. Make you some stuff up, put in your refrigerator to where you can make whatever you want. Just figure out what you want for the week. And then again, you may be like I was. I never knew from one day to the next what I wanted. Just whatever suited my fancy. I'd find me a Walmart somewhere or a place that I could stop and get what I needed for the menu and go to town. If I don't hurry up, we're going to have onions that's going to be crispier than I want them to be. So let's do it to it here, Pruitt. Alright. And we want that about like that. Alright, and once again, we're going to use our fail-proof method and throw in our peppers. Oh man, yes, yes, yes. Alright. Get that stirring around there. Let that do its deal. And that's about the right temperature, the right speed. As you know, the higher your heat, the faster it's going to cook on the outside and not cook on the inside. You don't want that. Nobody wants that. So here we go. Little bit of heat. I'm going to just kind of cut that around like so, and I've got a little deal right here. This right here is absolutely a potato peeler, but we're going to core out this jalapeno right here, I think. This is a fresh jalapeno. There we go. Yeah. That actually turned out better than I thought it was going to turn out. I'm going to cut that into sections about like so for a little bit of heat. Just a little bit. On this right here, I think a little damn will do you. You can add pepper flakes. If you don't like jalapenos, you can add pepper flakes, or you can leave all the heat out. But I think the heat is kind of what makes this special. In my book, it just gives an awesome aroma as well while it's cooking. We're going to stir them all in right there. You want to let that cook up until it starts getting a little bit translucent. Like so. Now's when I hold off on putting the garlic in. You want garlic in it, and we have garlic right here, and I've got just the regular minced garlic instead of smashing it myself, which is better. But like I say, in a truck you're kind of got limited access to room and space and stuff. So anyway, but we want that to cook just a little bit before we put that in there, because we don't want to risk the chance of burning that garlic. So with that said, we want to do this right here. I went ahead and took this out of a can, and this is nothing special. All this is a peeled stewed tomato. That's all it is. And what we do is, instead of pouring the tomatoes in at this time, we just want to pour in some of the juice. Some of the juice right there. Now that'll help that steam a little bit. And that is awesome flavor as well. All right. There we go. Now today, for spices, and like I say, use what you want. Use the things that you like. The things that I like are partially traditional with this dish, and some of it is stuff that I just personally like, and so I put it in there. One of those things is turmeric. I love a little bit of turmeric. And we're going to put about that much. Some would say, and a dash more. Some would say a teaspoon. Chili powder is always a good thing. Can never go wrong with chili powder. And this right here, I'm just going to watch the coloring as I put it in instead of putting it in my hands. Add about like that. Oh my gosh. You smell that? I'm smelling that. That is some kind of awesome smell. Now we've got some cumin. Same thing. Put in there a taste. Once you know what the taste and the effect of these different flavors are, you'll know what you like. You'll know whether to put a lot or what have you. And last but not least, paprika, which is really nothing more than dried bell peppers. Is really all it is. Seasoned and dried bell peppers, smoke added, and it does give it a smoky flavoring, and we want about like that. And I know everyone's like, oh my gosh, that just seems like so much seasoning. You can't never have too many seasonings in there. Stir that all up and you'll see a color change in everything. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness gracious. That right there, folks, is smelling. There's no way to really adequately describe how awesome the aroma is coming out of that skillet right there. So, with that said, now we want to add the rest of our seasonings, which is going to be a little touch of sugar. Like I say, to each their own. I don't like using a lot. Just maybe that much right there, which is just a pinch and a half. But like I say, just do it your way. And with that, we want just a touch of salt. I mean, about like that. Not a lot, just about like that. All right. And black pepper. There you go. Spice it to taste. Now is when we put the garlic in as well. But we're going to flip it around there a little bit. And man, that right there is what you're looking for. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for translucent onions. You're looking for the peppers to start sweating a little bit. You're looking for the bell peppers to not get soggy, but to render down just a little bit in there. And all those flavors are co-mingling. A lot of the reasons that you put sugar in with stuff that's savory is not so much for the sweet taste, but when you're going to add something that's acidic, like for instance these tomatoes we're about to put in here, about that much garlic, it helps with the flavor, helps round it out. Now we finish that off. Be careful not to make a big splashing mess here. Just like that right there. And with that said, there we go. We want to take and just chop them tomatoes up. Now you can get crushed tomatoes or any other type of tomatoes you want, you know, diced or what have you. But now I have a suggestion for you though. The ones that don't have the skin on them, which are these peeled tomatoes and stewed, those are the ones that I like. They're simpler to cook. It don't take as long. You don't got to worry about peeling skin. Some people like the skin on. Hey, to each their own. But for this recipe here, we're going to go with these stewed tomatoes. Hack around on them a little bit. Just like that right there. You don't want to pulverize it. But we want to do that right there. Get this mean mash going on. Alright. That's it right there. Now we can get this one. Might have to do the cardinals in here. As long as I don't drag it across the skillet, I don't think it'll hurt it. We'll peel it apart there. Just like that. Just like that. Right there. Oh yeah. Okay. And as long as we don't drag it, we're good. Alright. Now we're going to stir that all together. And that right there, my friends, is awesomeness in a skillet. Now we're going to need this lid here in a minute. We're just not going to need it right this second. We're going to go ahead. We're going to turn that up just a hair to almost a skillet's heavy. There we go. About a medium, almost a medium high. Let that do its deal. Cut that tomato, quarter that tomato out a little bit. There we go. Stir it, stir it, stir it. Okay, we got all of our flavorings in there. We got everything stewing like we want it to stew. We got a pretty good little sauce going there, but I am going to add one thing, and it's a little bit of chicken stock. I don't like adding water to anything if I can keep from it, because there's other things that just got more flavor. This being one of them. All right. Stir this all together once more. And let it stew up. And you want to cook this for about 15 minutes or so on a medium high to a low high. You can usually watch by the bubbles. You don't want it to rapidly boil. You don't want to boil it all down. So I'm going to turn it back just a hair. A little bit more. There we go. There we go. Let that stew up. Now this will thicken as it goes. And that's what you want. You don't want it real thick, but you want it to where when you pull it apart, the liquid doesn't run back down into the hole. Because this is shakshuka and this has eggs in it. So once this gets down to where it's a thicker consistency, you divot you some spots out, then you take an egg and you crack in there, put a little feta cheese on it, and put you some garnish of some sort. I like to use coriander or cilantro for mine, but you know, use what you want, parsley or what have you, if you like, or leave it out completely. And as I said earlier, you can use this morning, noon, or night. You can have it for supper and breakfast or what have you. And I know your schedules are crazy. Your schedules are absolutely crazy. Sometimes you're driving during the day, sometimes you're having to drive at night, depending on what it takes to get the load there, and this, that, and the other. And trust me, believe me, I've been there, and my phone is ringing, which I'm gonna have to turn that off, which we can do like that right there. Sorry about that. That should have been done before I come up in here. But anyway, let's take a look here and see what we got going on here. All right, we're still stewing. We're still stewing. All right. Give it about. All right, and we're back. And this is starting to look just exactly like what we want it to look like. We want it a little bit thicker but we don't want it real thick, if you know what I'm saying. How I usually test that is I pull it away from itself, and if it doesn't rush back in on itself quickly, like that right there, I mean, it's going to come back, but it doesn't come back rushing back in. That's where you want to be. Now at this time, I like to add a little bit of diced up cilantro, and I like to mix this up in it for the flavor, and we'll save some for garnishing. Add that in there like that right there, and that is right where we want to be. Now with that said, we're going to take and turn that heat down to a low, almost as low as you can get it. Now here is the star of the show. You make yourself some little divots. I'm going to make 5. I'm going to put 4 around the edge and 1 in the center. Just make some little divots, and that's just why you want it to where it's not rushing in real quick. But you do want a little liquid to come in, because that's what helps these eggs cook. Just like that right there. Very simple. Alright. And I have found, in this circumstance, do not try to crack your egg on the side of the skillet. It makes for a mess. What I do is I just take a fork and just kind of give it a little crack, go right above that little hole, and open that egg up in each one of those holes. I almost did it. I almost cracked it on that skillet. I almost did it. Right there. Okay. Right there. And we're going to redivotize our divot right there. Put that right there in it. Try not to break the yolk, unless you want your yolk broke. To each their own. But if you do not break the yolk, which is the traditional way of doing it, it leaves that center kind of a gelatinous, and that makes it good. Now with that done, you're saying, well, it don't look like it's cooking there, T. What's going on? What kind of shenanigans are you trying to pull? Well, what's going to help it cook when we put that lid on there, but we ain't quite ready for that yet. We're going to add just a little bit of salt on them eggs, just a little bit of salt on the eggs, and a little bit of pepper on the eggs, just a tad. Yeah, that's right. Can't have eggs without pepper. And then we're going to add a little bit more of the cilantro up in there like that. This stuff right here, it's really what makes it so amazing. Now we put the lid on it, we let it do its magic. We're back, and folks, I want you to look at this. I'm just going to shut that off. I'm going to shut that off, because that is done. Now one thing you do want to check, get yourself a fork, and you want to check, make sure this is done. And right there is like I like it. It's still going to cook a little bit. It's not totally loose, but it's not totally hard. It's congealed, and that's the way I like it. Right there. Now we got to do this right here. We got to add a little bit of this feta cheese to it. Hey, you know, to each their own. To each their own. Some people like a lot of it. Some people not so much. I just kind of like to sprinkle it around there, and just about like that right there. And folks, that right there is ready to serve. If only we had some toasted bread. And that, my friends, is shakshuka. Voila. Breakfast is served, dinner is served, supper is served, however you want to go about it. Let me tell you, this is going to be amazing. So with that said, I also like to leave, every time that we have this cooking show, I like to leave you guys with some form of a positive thing. And you know, the way I look at things, and you'll see as you get older in life, you'll see the older you get, the less you are concerned with what other people think about you. You guys are out there doing the very best you can every day, and it's never a perfect day. I tried for 34 years. I never had a perfect day. There's always something come up. But anyways, with that said, know your value, know your role. Do the job like y'all are doing right now, which is a thankless job, but it is a much needed job. And as I've said in the past, there's a company here that really cares about drivers, and from the bottom part of my heart, thank you so much for what you guys do, and eat good like you should. Thanks for joining.